So here's everything that you need to know about today's meeting with Jerome Powell. What's going on, team? It's Ricky with Talk About Solutions, and I really hope that you learned something new. And if you do, please consider dropping a thumbs up and subscribing if you feel like we earned it. So first off, we live streamed what happened today. I live streamed it earlier with the people that, again, are subscribed to the channel. I plan to potentially live stream it tomorrow. Being completely honest with you, it's super basic. He says the same speech in the very beginning where he talks about their target is price stability. Their goal is that 2% target of inflation. They're not yet there or where they want to be. And when asked about rate cuts, as we've all been waiting in 2024, again, the Federal Reserve is expected to cut rates. It's why the market started going up and why there was so much hope that these rate cuts would have already happened in Q1 of 2024. He was asked that same question today, and he didn't answer it in a bad way, right? So I don't think that the market should have necessarily have sold off. And please, you let me know down in the comment section what you think. But what he said was very clear and very straightforward that, well, economic data right now does not support rate cuts, but obviously meeting by meeting, inflation report by inflation report, PCE report by PCE report, they will take it into consideration. As of right now, it doesn't make sense to cut rates. I don't know if you guys were actually paying attention to the PCE report and the recent CPI data report, but the recent CPI data report came in worse than what was expected. Inflation is actually going up month over month. We have the next CPI data report, so the next inflation report is next week, and I plan to live stream it on this YouTube channel. So the crazy part about all of that is that nothing new was said. But if you look at all these different news articles, I actually just realized that I'm sharing my screen on YouTube. I thought I was sharing this article. My apologies. It says Dow Jones rallies on Powell's rate cut comments. NVIDIA, Supermicro surge to record highs. Pretty much everything goes to new highs. So if we pay attention to QQQ, we aggressively push up shortly after that meeting, which doesn't surprise me. I mean, if you paid attention to the live stream, one thing that I talked about within that live stream is, again, I've just experienced it so many times that it's not, obviously no one can predict the future, but there tends to be sometimes like uncomfortable selling pressure right before he speaks. And if he doesn't say anything worse, then technically it's better. But he didn't say anything new, right? He wasn't saying like, oh yeah, we're going to be cutting rates on the next FOMC meeting, or we're going to be cutting rates next month. He didn't answer anything direct. He never does. It's part of his job, right? He can't give a direct answer when they do take things meeting by meeting according to what he says. And shortly after, markets not only recover to previous highs, but then exceed that and go back to 441.99. So, and they end up selling off because, again, nothing new was shared. But I found it really interesting because a handful of different articles talk about, oh, market is rallying because the Federal Reserve is expected to cut rates in 2024. What? That's been the expectation since 2023. Now we're in March and still there's been no rate cuts. And based off of the most recent CPI data report, I don't expect there to be one in the month of March. But again, it's all dependent on meeting by meeting, what gets announced next week for the CPI data report and how the Federal Reserve will digest that inflation report and determine, hey, does it make sense for us to cut rates, or should we continue to hold off until inflation looks like it's a little bit more under control? I hope that makes sense. But again, if you actually want to watch what was said exactly, I live streamed it. So you can go to my YouTube channel and click on this video, and that will show you exactly what was said. It was very frustrating because after 2 or 3 different politicians asking him questions, they simply just asked questions to not even give him time to answer. It was the very frustrating part about that, and that's when I ended up closing out the stream because it seemed like it was a waste of time for myself and also for those that are watching, because all they do is ask for maybe the people that voted for them, but they never ask a question to allow Jerome Powell to actually answer it. And that's very frustrating. The only other thing that I wanted to talk about is Victoria's Secret reported earnings today. You guys love when I talk about stocks that gap up or gap down. And it reported earnings, huge drop to lows of 1870. It dropped 26%. And it's not that it has to recover. right? It can continue to sell off. The cheap can always get cheaper. Looking at previous lows, I mean, this thing does have a consistent descending pattern and it has previous lows of $13.62. So again, this is one of the biggest losers that I saw today. That's at least a relevant company. And maybe for all your girlfriends out there, maybe instead of investing money and just throwing it away on their lingerie, then maybe they can buy the dip if it's something that meets their criteria. Of course, at $18 to $19, if they see potential in it recovering. Just a little side joke. But other than that, again, we do see Bitcoin kind of selling off right now as it tends to do overnight. We'll see how it opens, and I hope to see you for our live trading session tomorrow. Again, I do trade live every single morning right at market open. You get to see all of my entries, all of my exits, and if I don't take any trades, at least you also get to hear my thought process behind every single trade I take, especially if you're a beginner and you learn better by watching other people do. That's exactly the whole point of these live sessions, and especially if you want to tune on in to have more structure with your trading, I'd love to invite you. It's the second link in the description down below. And again, we are running a 50% off discount whenever you're ready to join us. I hope that it earned your thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.